Tonight, some stores are turning to body cameras to deter theft. Also,
we're going down a path right now that's not going to take us to a good place.
Candidates start throwing their names in the mayoral hat as election season approaches.
There's some things that I wanted to do differently.
Plus, emotion boils over at rider practice.
It wasn't our best day today.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It is Tuesday, September 17th, and the CBC Saskatchewan News starts right now. Good evening and thank you for joining us. A major retail chain is requiring employees at 2 Saskatoon stores to wear body cams to help combat violence. Loblaws says it's trying to protect workers and customers, but as Helena Mahalik reports, the pilot program is getting mixed reaction.
Here at Superstore in the Confederation neighborhood, security is being taken up a notch. People shopping are now being watched through body cameras worn by some employees.
Our mission is to use technology to reduce violence and to keep everybody safe.
In an online video, both the company behind the body cams and Loblaws executives talk about the alarming rate of violence in their stores. Loblaws says they're piloting body cams to make people more safe.
Must mean there's a lot of shoplifting.
However, some customers don't seem so sure it's necessary.
I don't know if this one is going to make any impact on shoplifting, all that things.
Going backwards instead of forward in our life, because I think this is crazy. We have to lock everything, show ID.
This is part of a 3-month pilot program Loblaws is testing at the Confederation Superstore and the Shoppers Drug Mart on 22nd Street. Certain stores in Calgary are also taking part in the pilot program.
If we're getting positive feedback from police and now maybe possibly retail, you're going to see cameras expand across many industries, which is, again, just kind of a more surveillance society. Whether that people want that, it's a different conversation, but we're heading in that direction.
Other shoppers say this increase of security will help them feel safer, both in the store and around the neighborhood.
I'm a relative newcomer to this area, and it is really sketchy. So, yes, anything they can do to improve security. Like, there's just the things you see around here. Yeah.
Always we come with my family, with my kids. They're playing around this area, so I can say it's good here.
Some experts say this could help provide better evidence to police when dealing with assaults or theft, and even prevent theft altogether. Helena Mahalik, CBC News, Saskatoon.
Oh, it has been a stormy day across Saskatchewan, and parts of our province are in for a lot of rain these next couple of days. Our weather specialist Ethan Williams joins us now, and it looks like there's some severe weather really on the way.
Yeah, that's right. We have a tornado warning actually in effect right now, Sam. This is for the RMs of Auburn and Wiska Creek. It includes the town of Pontex, moving up toward the community of Vanguard, moving to the north here. This is a special note for those of you driving along Highway 13 south of Pontex and Highway 43 in the Vanguard area. This storm is headed your way. Large hail, strong winds also possible. We have severe thunderstorm warnings in effect around that tornado warning. And then we also have severe thunderstorm warnings that are in effect right now around the Regina area as a storm is now beginning to move in with some nickel to ping pong ball sized hail possible, some strong winds here too. And then we have this broader severe thunderstorm watch, which is in effect for much of south central and southwestern Saskatchewan as we could continue to see these storms move in. In fact, a few popping up on the Montana side of the border, which could cross into our province as we head later into the evening. Some pretty large hail reported with storms near Weyburn earlier this afternoon, larger than toonie sized reported by Amanda. And we are also hearing reports of some pretty strong winds as well. Of course, this all comes right before we're expected to get quite a bit of rain, Sam. I'll have details on that coming up in my full forecast.
Just some regular September weather.
Yeah, no big deal.
Thanks, Ethan.
You're welcome.
Now, we talked about how things are getting more expensive so much over the last little while, and now Canada's rate of inflation dropped last month 2%. So that was the target set by the Bank of Canada in its long campaign to cool price growth. Inflation dipped 0.5 percentage point in August, due primarily to a drop in gas prices. Mortgage interest and rental costs are now the main contributors to keeping prices high. The bank began cutting its key interest rate in June and raising it 2 years prior to get inflation under control. Economists are predicting that the Bank of Canada will continue to cut the rate, which now sits at 4.25%. The Saskatchewan NDP says it will change the way the government selects companies who successfully bid on contracts. Carla Beck made the announcement in Martensville this morning. The NDP's Hire Saskatchewan policy would revamp Sask Builds. Beck says companies that benefit local communities the most would be chosen, not those who come in with the lowest bid.
This is a step in the right direction, keeping fabrication in the province for work that is happening in this province is something that does need to be done, and our contractors need to be given a competitive edge through either legislation or help in procuring that work through procurement policies.
The NDP made a similar promise back in April. The Minister for Sask Builds said at that time that more than 80% of contracts already go to Saskatchewan companies. Meanwhile, the provincial government was highlighting a budget commitment to help support people with intellectual disabilities. Minister of Social Services Jean Makowski was at an event in Saskatoon this morning. In March, the government pledged $1.3 million toward repair and renovation for facilities used by people with intellectual disabilities. 20 organizations will receive grants to upgrade their buildings, including Autism Services of Saskatoon.
When we're talking about facilities, it's really more than that. This is a home, right? This is a home for people just like me and you, who have a family, who love them and care about them, and who need a safe, healthy environment where they can flourish. And that's what it's all about. That's what this support is providing.
The government expects the money will help organizations renovate to create accessible washrooms and build wheelchair ramps and to meet current and health and safety standards. We've been talking a lot about the coming provincial election, but municipal elections are starting to steal some of that spotlight, and the race for mayor of Regina is growing. Ward 4 City Councillor Lori Bresciani is now running for the role, an announcement made this afternoon. She's been a councillor since 2016, and Bresciani says if elected mayor, she'll work hard on fiscal responsibility and improvement to core services, as well as collaboration and sustainable economic growth. She says she'll aim to provide more cost-conscious leadership.
In reflection of this last 4 years, I would say that there's some things that I wanted to do differently, and I would talk more about the debt and the money and the financial piece around our city. And I think that is something that's vitally important to people. And I'm only one vote on council, and so when you're one vote, again, it's very tough to make any kind of decisions around anything kind of around funding or anything like that.
Bresciani is the 7th candidate to join the race, including incumbent Mayor Sandra Masters, who is seeking a second term.
We're going down a path right now that is not going to take us to a good place. We seem to be slipping on many issues. We're not engaging with people the way we should be engaging with people. We're developing a chasm between City Council, the mayor, and the citizens of our city. And in order to clear those behaviors, we have to hit the refresh button, start again by coming in with an approach to inspiring leadership, engaging leadership, and inspiring the best of our citizens.
Bill Pratt is hoping to be the person to hit that refresh button. A week ago today, he also announced his run for mayor of Regina. In his announcement, Pratt outlined a vision for the city, one that includes growing the population and tax base and improving downtown. Pratt was born and raised in Regina and believes his experience on several volunteer boards and working with homeless shelters is an asset. The Regina municipal election is set for November 13th. It was a hot day on the field at Mosaic Stadium for Riders practice. Emotions ran high as the afternoon sun and the head coach lost his cool with his team more than once. The team has been struggling. It's been 2 months since their last win. It was a comedy of errors today with dropped passes and numerous mental mistakes. Corey Mace let his team have it early in practice with some colorful language. And when things didn't improve, he cut practice 15 minutes short and he continued his tirade as they left the field.
We just didn't meet our expectation, and that's something I think is my job to hold everybody to that expectation. And when we don't, we just need a subtle reminder. So I'm looking forward to seeing what tomorrow looks like for these guys.
A couple lackluster plays here and there is what's cost us games, and today was just a great message, I thought, from Mace that it wasn't acceptable and we can't have it. And starts with me. I'm going to always make mistakes as well. It's playing in this position, but you know, I'm going to go out there and give my best effort every single day, and so that's what we all need to be doing. And you know, just today wasn't good enough in terms of us meeting that standard.
Harris went on to say that the leadership group actually decided to head back out and finish practice without coaches. This setback makes tomorrow's practice crucial in preparation for Friday night's battle at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. Kickoff is at 7:30. Oh, this was a look at the South Saskatchewan River just before the clouds and rain blew in this afternoon. We are in for some unstable weather over the next couple days in Saskatchewan. Ethan's already given us the short-term scoop. He'll have your longer-term forecast after the break. Stay with us. The worst flooding in decades continues to threaten a large area of Central and Eastern Europe. Heavy rain has been falling for nearly a week. In southwestern Poland, hundreds of residents spent the night filling and distributing sandbags to reinforce riverbanks. More than 40,000 people have been ordered to leave one threatened city. A hospital has been evacuated and roads and bridges have been damaged, and Polish police performed a number of helicopter rescues to get people out of the flood zone. In northeastern Czech Republic, a river breached its banks, swamping an industrial area and rail yard. Hundreds of people forced to leave a nearby residential district. Torrential downpours flooded streets, businesses, and basements, and now cleanup. It has been a busy day for many in southeastern Manitoba after heavy rain swamped that region. Mike Arsenault has the story.
The van behind me was in waist-deep water earlier this morning, a consequence of the heavy rainfall that touched down in Steinbach. The city got more than 156 millimeters of rain in the last 36 hours, causing flash flooding throughout the community.
If we can just slow the water.
It was all hands on deck at the Steinbach Area Animal Rescue. Staff, volunteers, and community members all pitched in to keep the water out. Sandra Watson is the volunteer adoption coordinator for the rescue. She says around mid-morning, water levels started to rise in the backyard, flooding the basement.
We did have some time to try to get some volunteers out and rescue as much of the food and litter and supplies that we have downstairs. But it was coming in fast, and we eventually had to just abort.
Watson says the water in their basement was waist deep. They had to shut off the power to the building and are working to build a sandbag dike around the basement windows. She says all the animals were upstairs and weren't impacted by the flood.
We did have to make plans for them to move out as fast as possible. With all the generators running, there's fumes. Also, we had to turn the electricity off. So, yeah, we had to quickly find spots for 10 animals.
Watson says the rescue just opened in June and had a ribbon-cutting ceremony earlier this month. Residents were hit by the floodwaters as well. Nikita Pandya says early this morning, water started coming up through her sewer until it was up to her knees, flooding bedrooms and common areas.
We just set up last week, and it's all messed. So it's all wet with the water and everything. And there's the kids' room with all the toys. That's also like in the water as well.
Pandya says many of her neighbors got flooded too. Now she's waiting for her insurance company to assess the damage. Now, Steinbach isn't the only community being impacted by heavy rainfalls. The RM of Hanover has had to close some roads due to washouts, and the Reeve says the water is waist deep in some areas. The RM is offering sandbags to people as they continue to fight the flooding. Mike Arsenault, CBC News, Steinbach, Manitoba.
The weather update is brought to you by Capital GMC Buick Cadillac. Employee pricing is on now.
And it looks like it is our turn in Regina. Our weather specialist Ethan Williams joins me now. Looks like the system's starting to roll through.
Yeah, we got the showers and thunderstorms moving through the city right now, Sam. We also have severe weather Elsewhere in the province, too, we did have that tornado warning in effect for southwestern Saskatchewan around Pontex. I can confirm, though, that that has come to an end now, thankfully. Still, severe thunderstorm warnings are in place through a good chunk of southwestern Saskatchewan. We're talking about, nickel to ping pong ball sized hail here, strong winds, heavy rain, and then, of course, we're dealing with the storm that's now just moving through Regina over the supper hour here. Nickel-sized hail possible with this. This extends all along pretty much the Trans-Canada corridor out as far east as Wolseley and as far west as Moose Jaw. And then we have the broader severe thunderstorm watch, which is in effect for much of southern Saskatchewan. And actually, this is a brand new warning that's just popped up for what looks like around the Cornac area as these cells are now moving up from Montana. So still lots more to come. After the storms, then it's just going to transition over to quite a bit of heavy rain, and we are looking at rainfall warnings in place for the Swift Current area, Val-Marie, Shaunavon, the Cypress Hills up toward the Leader Gull Lake area. And this is for generally what could be 40 to 60 millimeters of rain falling by Thursday morning. And these warnings, Environment Canada says, may be expanded northward into west central Saskatchewan tomorrow. We'll have to see how this all plays out. This is how we think it's going to play out. I think continued showers and storms popping up in the southwest tonight. This will bring some heavy rain at times. And then kind of our first big band of this moving in tomorrow morning just before your morning commute, expanding through southern Saskatchewan. And then really it becomes a western Saskatchewan story here as Saskatoon all the way down to Maple Creek. We start seeing this band of rain just kind of hanging around through the day tomorrow, heavy pockets at times before it starts to migrate eastward as we get into Thursday morning. Finally, though, by Thursday afternoon, it starts to clear out. But that doesn't mean we're done with the rain, because then this next system, albeit a lot less lighter rain, I think, will start moving in on later Thursday and early into Friday for parts of central Saskatchewan. This model is worst case scenario. You can see pockets here are upwards of maybe 70 to 90 millimeters in spots, specifically in the southwest. We could see over 100 in some spots, but it's going to be very hit and miss as to where that actually falls, depending on where those heavier amounts are. You can see Regina, eastern sections of the province, I think we're generally in the clear, maybe a good 10 to 15 millimeters at the most. Wind's not really going to pick up all that much tomorrow with this. Still could be gusting 40 to 50, but it's on the other side of this system as it moves on through, gusts 50 to 60 possible, especially into southern Saskatchewan. So I put 5 to 15 millimeters for Regina tomorrow. Temperatures drop as the winds pick up Thursday with some lingering showers before things get much closer to seasonal for the weekend. Saskatoon, again, a general 20 to 40 millimeters, higher amounts in thunderstorms, and then that next system moving through on Friday with another 1 to 3 millimeters. So, yeah, much more September-like weather on the way, Sam.
Oh, all I can think is I hope that those crops are off the field in those areas.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of water there for sure.
No kidding. Thanks, Ethan.
You're welcome.
Okay, that's so cute. An adorable mid-autumn festival in China. The 15th day of the 8th month on the lunar calendar when the moon is full. And it's not just people who enjoy the traditional mooncake treat. Animals at a zoo in southwest China have been snacking on special versions of the cakes made with ingredients that suit their own diets. In China, a full moon is seen as a symbol of reunion, harmony, and happiness. We'll be back after the break.
This is Saskatchewan Now. This is our home. This is the 306. Afternoons on CBC are getting a new sound to drive home to, a new format to stream. We get real, we get curious, we dig into the heart of what's really going on, and we groove to the music of the 306. I'm Peter Mills, host of the 306, Afternoons on CBC Radio 1. Give it a spin, you'll love it.
Welcome back. The federal Liberals have suffered another by-election blow, losing a safe seat on Justin Trudeau's home turf in Montreal. Catherine Cullen looks at what it could mean for the party's future and the prospects for a general election.
For the Bloc Québécois, a win on the island of Montreal is a welcome twist.
It's awesome.
For the Liberals, it's especially painful.
What went wrong?
Well, we lost. Actually, I'd probably take it quite personally.
a Liberal stronghold previously represented by a Prime Minister. The Salle-Lemart-Verdun and its predecessors have gone red for most of the last half-century.
Obviously, it would have been nicer to be able to win and hold Verdun.
It leaves the Prime Minister to explain why his party can't hold a seat in his own backyard.
We need people to be more engaged. We need people to understand what's at stake in this upcoming election.
Asked in French if it puts his leadership in question, the Prime Minister says there's work to do and they'll keep doing it. It comes after a surprising by-election loss in Toronto in June, both key areas the Liberals rely on for votes to form government. This Liberal MP was asked if the Prime Minister could stay on.
The bottom line is when people speak, we need to listen.
In fact, there is no way for the Liberals to dump their leader, and he insists he will fight the next election.
People are done with the Liberals. They're done with Justin Trudeau. They're done with the Liberals. They are finished.
Yet the NDP saw mixed results, keeping the Winnipeg riding of Elmwood-Transcona. But despite more than half a dozen visits from leader Jagmeet Singh, they came in third in Montreal.
We have the ability to win within striking range.
Canadians in the former Liberal strongholds of Toronto and Montreal have now given their verdict.
While the Conservatives still hope to force an election.
Isn't it time for Canadians to have a chance to render their verdict right across the country?
To do that, the Conservatives would need both the Bloc and the NDP to vote to topple the government. And right now, neither party sounds ready to commit to that. Catherine Cullen, CBC News, Ottawa.
The Alberta government has given back more than $130 million to the federal government. The money is what was not spent to clean up old oil and gas wells in the province. It was first handed out during the pandemic and part of a larger initiative by the federal government. The money was divided by BC, Alberta, and Saskatchewan, and the feds confirmed Saskatchewan dispersed all of its share, $400 million. BC did return a small amount of unspent money, and some industry leaders point to poor weather and labor shortages to help explain the unfinished work. And Ethan's back with one last look at your gloomy forecast.
Gloomy and stormy. Heads up to you folks in Coronach. This line of storms is now moving up from Montana. There has just been a tornado warning issued on the Montana side of the border near Scobie. Environment Canada has issued a severe thunderstorm warning. We are yet to see if a tornado warning will be issued. For Regina, mostly cloudy at midnight. Storms will be passing us by, but they'll be back for the morning hours. Winds picking up quite a bit as well into the afternoon. It'll probably be some light showers from time to time with gusty winds. For Saskatoon, showers beginning around midnight tonight with the possibility of some thunderstorms. A bit of a break by the morning hours, but then straight rain as we head into the afternoon, Sam.
All right. Thanks, Ethan.
You're welcome.
And that is it for us tonight. For news anytime, you can head to cbc.ca/sask or /Saskatoon. You can subscribe to the CBC Saskatchewan YouTube channel or download the CBC News app on your phone or tablet. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great night. Stay safe.